North Korea says it has successfully tested an ICBM. Seoul, South Korea. North Korea said on Tuesday that it had successfully conducted its first test of an intercontinental ballistic missile, claiming a milestone in its efforts to build nuclear weapons capable of hitting the mainland United States. The announcement came hours after a launch that the United States military said sent the missile aloft for 37 minutes. That duration, analysts said, suggested a significant improvement in the range of the North's missiles, and it might allow one to travel as far as 4,000 miles and hit Alaska. In an initial statement, the United States Pacific Command described the weapon as an intermediate-range missile rather than an intercontinental ballistic missile. But South Korean and Japanese officials said they were studying the data to determine if it was an ICBM. The missile took off from the Banghaian airfield in the northwestern town of Kusong and flew 578 miles before landing in the sea between North Korea and Japan, the South Korean military said in a statement. North Korea fires another missile amid rising tensions with U.S. The Japanese government said the missile landed in its so-called exclusive economic zone off its western coast. Under a series of United Nations Security Council resolutions, North Korea is prohibited from developing or testing ballistic missiles. While the North is believed to have made significant progress in its weapons programs, experts believe it still has a long way to go in miniaturizing nuclear warheads for intercontinental ballistic missiles. The missile test adds a volatile new element to the Trump administration's efforts to curb North Korea's nuclear ambitions, which have included naval drills off the Korean peninsula and pressure on China, Pyongyang's longtime ally. In a blunt phone call Sunday, President Trump warned President Xi Jinping of China that the United States was prepared to act alone against North Korea if the missile took 37 minutes to fly 578 miles. That would mean that it had a highly lofted trajectory, probably reaching an altitude of more than 1,700 miles, said David Wright, co-director of the Global Security Program at the Union of Concerned Scientists. Such a missile would have a maximum range of roughly 4,160 miles, or 6,700 kilometers, on a standard trajectory, he said. North Korea said the missile, which it identified as the HWASONG-14, flew for 39 minutes. That range would not be enough to reach the lower 48 states or the large islands of Hawaii, but would allow it to reach all of Alaska, Mr. Wright wrote in a blog post. The missile looked like the longest-range missile that North Korea had ever tested, and its long flight time was more consistent with an ICBM that can target Alaska and perhaps Hawaii, said Jeffrey Lewis, director of the East Asian Non-Proliferation Program at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies. It's a very big deal. It looks like North Korea tested an ICBM, he said by email. Even if this is a 7,000 km range missile, a 10,000 km range missile that can hit New York isn't far off, but analysts also cautioned that although they have been impressed by the rapid and steady progress in the North's missile programs, the long flight time itself did not suggest that North Korea had mastered the complex technologies needed to build a reliable nuclear-tipped ICBM, such as the know-how to separate the nuclear warhead and guide it to its target by lofting some of its recent missiles to higher altitudes and letting them crash down toward the Earth at greater speeds. North Korea has claimed that it tested its re-entry technology, which can protect a nuclear warhead from intense heat and vibrations as it crashes through the Earth's atmosphere. But it is still unclear whether the North has successfully cleared that technological hurdle, missile experts said.